Welcome back, everybody. We have got another fantastic run. It's Joseph Joestar up with Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, commentated by House Test again, so take it away.
It's me. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're now going over to the second game, the sequel to the original from 1987 that started it all. We're now in 1990 and playing Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, a game that was basically done out of spite because the American version of the NES Metal Gear got a sequel and Kojima said, no, I'm going to make it better. We're here to take a look together with JoesephJoestar316. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, House, hey everybody. Happy 35th anniversary to Metal Gear, and like House said, we're going to be playing the sequel to Metal Gear MSX that you just saw from Sergeant Silent. I'm going to be running this on easy, which is the faster of the two difficulties. It's not that much different in terms of strategy and all that stuff, but this is just so I can make it with an estimate today. So, time's going to start once I select easy, and it's going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Followed by the Foxhound logo.
Don't you love it? So
oh, absolutely. All
So
right.
yeah, we're playing the sequel, and we're actually going to go through the Ground Zero segment, fun fact. Whenever I see this game, I think, oh yeah, Ground Zeroes did the same later.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's starting off in this similar fashion where we're sneaking in. We don't have any of our items yet. So one of the nice things about Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake over the first is what you just saw there is like we actually have crawling. We actually have like a nice variety of music. We also got a lot of the elements that you see in later games, which I'll get to some of that as we get through this, but since we're on 90%, we don't care about the alerts, kills, how many rations I use. I'm just trying to get through this as fast as I can. Also just provide some nice entertainment to the awesome alert music that this game has.
So good. I really don't blame that Ghost Babel mostly reused the same music or slightly remixed it, because it's just so good.
Yeah, so we're gonna grab the handgun, which is one of the few weapons we need throughout the game. And we're gonna crawl underneath this truck because it's faster than trying to go all the way around. Oh boy, doesn't this look like a familiar section? It's almost like another game kind of used this idea later.
Yep, going through vents, another staple. There's so many things in the 2D games that have just done so much that are getting reused in the later games. And remember, we just said 87 with Metal Gear 1. We have Metal Gear 2 now in 1990, and it takes it's before we go over to Metal Gear Solid. So many of these early ideas, years before Solid, make them even more popular, already here.
Yeah, so what I just did there is I knocked on the wall, which is actually one of the things I was talking about that you can actually do in this game, which incorporates more stealth aspects, as well as being able to punch guards by staggering them, which is very effective in this game. And then one thing you're going to see me do a lot with elevators is we'll crawl into them. The reason for that is your movement is less when you actually load into the elevator than just running in normally. Huh? What was that noise?
What was that noise?
So we're gonna do the same thing again by just crawling into the elevator. It's just so it lessens like your amount of steps like when you go in. Normally if you just run in, it ends you putting like right here. And so with the amount of elevator trips you have in this game, it does add up over time. You know, it's just for optimization. So got the level 1 key card, and then we're gonna get spotted briefly. Hey! And then we're gonna go
here. Sorry, alerts actually carry over through most rooms and go on for a long time, but here in the special instance, they stop.
Yeah, so we're gonna run into... Wait, you're not Marv. Nope, it's the first boss fight, Black Ninja, which we're just gonna stay on the outer perimeter, trade shots with him. Hopefully he's not gonna troll me too badly. Okay, so just gonna go right back.
Looking good, and...
Oh. Oh, that one missed. There we go, that'll do it. Okay, never mind, that won't do it. There we go.
Yeah, we usually don't need much help, but there we go, okay. He's just going over the side and have a nap. A deadly nap, but a nap nonetheless, and then...
Yeah, so they caught on to the fact in the first game that players could just bypass fights like this if you already have the key card. So they said, you know what, we're gonna make so that the bosses actually drop the key cards this time, so you can't just run past, you know, the majority of the bosses in the last game. So we got the level 2 key card now, in which we need to advance to the next section, which is probably some of the people's unusual favorite. And of course, I'm memeing when I say this of what's coming up.
Oh yeah, come on.
So we're gonna go back down to the first floor. What were you gonna say, House?
I was just gonna say, the thing with the bosses in MG2 is, I'm glad that we have to fight them because they are actually very interesting. So much more different gameplay versus if you know MG1, and you know that's Joe as well, boss survival, most of the gameplay is just, you know, simple. Let's put it as simple.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the bosses that kind of throw a curveball at you will probably be like Fire Trooper, Tank, I mean, especially the Tank,
Yeah.
but they do actually have like a nice variety of not only just, you know, different obstacles in this game, but the guards, their behavior. Like, you can even see, like, they move their heads around while they're, you know, when they're just standing, like, at their posts. And the thing in this game, too, is, like, they actually see in a cone now, even though you don't see that on the radar, which, hey, we actually have a radar now. In the first game, they see in a line, so if you picture a checkerboard grid, that, like, that's how they see you, but in this game, they changed that by now actually giving them a little more of a realistic field of vision. And
they can even turn their heads a little bit to the left and the right, and that impacts the field of view as well.
Yeah, so the quote-unquote best part of the game of following the Green Beret Guard. Why are we following this guy around? Well, we have to follow this guy to, you know, figure out the location of Dr. Madnar, one of the 2 scientists in development of the new type of Metal Gear here in Zanzibar land. Also the same guy from the first game, even though we saw a fake version of him. Or Pit Madnar, I think, as Sarge put it the other day.
Oh yeah.
And this is actually the first, like, forced stealth element of the game. You have to follow them around. You can't be spotted by them, otherwise they'll run off screen. Then you have to start the tailing sequence all over again. And I have to joke to people like, hey, you know what? When they developed this section of the game, and then they went on to MGS4 many years later, they're like, hey, you know what? The Act 3 resist this guy, we should make him like this one, where the player just follows him around. I'm sure they won't mind.
It's all coming back to the basics, really.
Yeah, so this is probably one of the points of the run where it's just kind of like chill time. Although, believe it or not, you can mess this up. I often get, like, distracted at times, or I'm on autopilot where I'm, like too off to the side somewhere, and then he sees me. And then I realize, hey, I just wasted the first, like, 8-9 minutes of the run. I gotta start over.
Oh, no. Then you want to follow him rather quickly to the next screen, because if he's turning around and you're still on the other screen, he goes away as well.
Yeah.
Don't fall asleep here.
No, I mean, it's... I don't know what it is, but like I said, it's, you know, maybe when you're first going through it, it's not as noticeable, but when you're doing runs repeatedly, it does kind of get into autopilot, like, drowsy, I guess you could put it.
This is another thing that MG2 also does way different versus MGX. At least when you looking at the speedrun of it, in MGX, it's just constant back-to-back action. You're just going. There's almost no stop. In MG2, it's a little bit more cinematic. There's a lot more happening in the story. There's a lot more visually happening as well, and even the gameplay partially slows down. Oh, speaking of slowdown, he's speeding up. He's after him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just messing with us, you know. I wish he kind of runs at this speed the whole time. Just make our life...
Imagine.
Huh?
Oh?
I just like the way he turns around, like, at every corner. I mean, I swear to God, they looked at this and gave the Resistance guy in MGS4 the same behavior where he's just checking over every corner, like, all the time. Yeah. It's not just a coincidence, I swear. So, we're coming up near the...
know where to go. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, his movement is consistent. You just have to follow him and just kind of make sure to stay out of sight. And you do have to follow him. You can't try to, like, race ahead of him, because he actually reveals part of the map as we continue. If you try to race ahead of him, or just skip him all together, you'll get, like, blocked parts of the jungle. Oh, that's all right. That was intended. Just to kind of get a little pat on the back.
Shake my hand, dude.
So, normally the game would tell you to look at the manual to figure out what the knocking on the wall means, which is more or less calling Dr. Mandar at this frequency, 14082. It's consistent. If you don't have the manual, just save yourself the trouble by memorizing the number or just looking up our guides on the wiki. Shoutouts to Ding on his video when I was learning the game. Even though I was doing any percent, but his big boss guide is very detailed.
The differences are rather minute. You just need for any percent on easy a few less ammunition for it. Except for the mines, you need just 4 instead of 7, I think. Original versus easy for the next boss.
Yeah, it's 7 for original and it's 4 for easy, but I'm getting 5 just so I can have a little bit extra. Plus for menuing purposes, so I can swap to it a little bit easier. Now, this part of the game I despise, which is going through the swamp. You have to memorize the pathing so you can just stay above. Otherwise, you'll start slowly sinking into the swamp. Pathing is consistent, so it's not like it changes on you or anything, but it is very easy to mess up like I just did there and there again.
And if you don't come back quickly enough, you just sink. There's no coming back from that, sadly.
Yeah, to start that section all over again, which is definitely not the greatest. And now here's probably one of my favorite bosses in the game, which is Running Man. Wait, look at him go!
Whoa! He should be running at the Olympics.
I mean, maybe he's just learning. Maybe he's learning to speedrun the game.
Yeah. Literally inside the game.
So this is one of the puzzle fights where you kind of have to figure out how do you fight someone that's always going to be opposite of where you are, just using their own speed against you. Well, that's exactly it. We're going to use their own speed against them by planting things off in this bottom quadrant. Go up so we can push him down. Alright, then we're just gonna go back and forth a few times.
There we go.
And thus ends the tragic tale of Running Man.
Turns into a cookie and then explodes.
And rewarding us with a level 3 keycard.
Let's go!
Yeah, so like I said, that's one of the puzzle fights where you're running up against a boss that's constantly avoiding you. The room is filled with poison gas. He has a mask on, so he won't be affected by it. There is a mask in the game that you can acquire, which can delay the poison. However, it does take you a little bit out of the way, and it's unnecessary for easy to get it. You can grab it on original, which I do for safety purposes. But there are other ways of dealing with Running Man that doesn't involve, like, either getting the mask or, like, chasing after them the way I just did.
You can also leave the room and come back later, which doesn't reset the fight, thankfully. So
yeah.
Oxygen.
Yeah, so, like, that's what was told to me, like, on original when I was learning it, was, like, you can actually go in, planes leave, and Running Man will still be in there, and he'll just trigger the mines on his own. But, hey, the more you know.
That's one of the many things that MG2 does. Well, yeah, it has loading times. Trust me, it's all the more worth it because the segments that are loaded are way bigger and guards actually can track outside of your local room, basically. And that gives us many opportunities, as we just said. You know, you can plant the mines for Running Man already, come back, have more oxygen, you can still do the same thing.
Yeah, so now we're acquiring the Stinger missile launcher, which is probably not in the form of what most would recognize, but we need this for the next fight coming up. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab this ammo box here for my handgun, which I used quite a bit for the first boss fight, and it's also preemptively setting up for the end of the game once we get there. So again, I'm just using, you know, knocking on the walls to keep those guards distracted so I could just get... At times, it may look like I'm trying to play for something like Big Boss, but you actually want to minimize alerts even on any percent because, you know, it does slow you down. Whether if it's like the screen like freeze frames when you get spotted, or just having to like navigate around guards so you don't take too much damage. Plus, it just makes it convenient, just to kind of keep them all like occupied in one spot. So we're gonna grab some mines again, but this time we're just gonna actually run through, not just double back like we did before. And then I'm gonna grab.
By the way, this is
here.
no ordinary sand. This is singing sand. Yes, Big Boss, extraordinaire. has singing sand here, which the gods will always hear when we step on it. So we're
Yeah.
playing any percent, so we don't need to worry about that. We're just going through.
Yeah, it's like the squeaky sand, as I call it. And wait, a high D? Quick,
What does a Russian gunship do here?
it has to take it off. Quick, do something. Oh, never mind. Oh, we're gonna watch it.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
Well, that's
it's cinematic, right? You know, we don't want to rush
Yeah.
into things, but gonna pull out the stinger, fire off 3 rounds, which I missed the first one, but that's okay. I was trying to go for
There you go.
aggressive first shot.
Nice. Yeah, you wonder
And-
how a 2D stinger works, and basically you're aiming with the radar and shoot where you expect the hind D to be.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't quite, figure out, like, how do you make something that's 3D into 2D, so, I mean, the radar selection is actually pretty cool. Even if it's just the old school. So, we're gonna knock on this container again, which is gonna distract all 3. Making noises in this game gets all the guards' attention in the area, regardless of where they are. Oh, wait, I actually equipped the box a little bit too early there. That's alright. Now we're gonna answer
We're gonna do a
the...
phone call.
Yeah, something about, I don't know, like, another frequency. Check the manual. I mean, I don't have a manual on me, so I'm just gonna
What
ignore them
manual?
and equip box. Wait, a box?
Box.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
actually
setting
get to use...
MGX1. Yeah, please.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, this is actually something you can use in the game for a change, which is actually the box.
True, true. In MG1 there is also a box, but sadly we're not using it for any percent.
Yeah, I mean, the game actually makes you use the box to get into the next building here, and the call that I just took there was from Holly, who was captured, during her, part of sneaking in here, so you have to answer that call there, otherwise she will not show up when you go to find her in the basement coming up. It is a very easy thing to miss, and we grabbed a pack of rations, and that's the other unique thing about this game, is there are 3 different types of rations. I know, you might be thinking, well, I'm just used to the one ration. There's actually, like, B1, 2, and 3, and, oh, look, that guy actually just dropped one
Hey.
as I'm talking about it.
Let's go.
I didn't intend that, but that's alright. Each ration actually has a unique function other than just healing your life bar, which I'll explain that as each occurrence happens. So what we're going to do here is stop in here, grab some explosives. You only need 1 pack on easy. On original, you would grab 2. Okay, so we're going to swap to level 1 card, blow up this wall, and we saved
Oh, no.
Holly.
How did she get here? Because, like, she's walled in from all sides. Like, was she put in there, like, sim? Like,
I don't
the
know.
Sims? Walling in your Sims?
I mean, I have the same question about how they have an enemy uniform inside an enclosed wall with a... I don't know, man. It's just making my head spin trying to comprehend it.
Makes the argument stronger that they built Outer Heaven, so everything else already in there and just forgot things that are left there.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use that ration for menuing purposes so my muscle memory doesn't get affected too much by it, but... so now we're going through these swimming sections, and Snake even goes pretty fast underwater. So, when I go through the water, you could stay shallow above water and move kind of at a slower pace, but if you dive underneath by pressing crouch, then you'll just go a lot faster, just keeping an eye on your oxygen level as you do it. So now what we're going to be doing here is going up to the B1 section of this side of the building to get grenades, which we do need for this run, and then, again, we're just going to knock on this wall so this guy doesn't bother me. Try to grab these grenades here. So we're going to use the level 4 key card we got from Holly to get the grenades. Go ahead, equip them. Give this guy a little fist bump for just being there. And then go right back in the elevator.
Indeed. The next boss that we're gonna fight, yeah, we're gonna use the grenades, but you wouldn't think of it first when you see that. It's a little bit unusual what he will do.
Yeah, again, it's one of the puzzle fights where you're kind of meant to figure out, like, how you're meant to deal with them, and that's where these grenades come in handy. Alright, so same thing as before, we're just gonna go swimming. I mean, it is a rather nice day out. I mean, it's summertime. I mean, I'm sure Snake brought his, his fins, his snorkel. I mean, Oh, but somebody left some mines here, but no biggie. On easy, they don't do as much damage as you might think, but on original, you do have to kind of be careful when you're running into those.
We're basically just speed swimming from building 2, building 1, and then back again to building 2.
Yeah, and then it actually has a current, if you couldn't tell, where you can only swim in one direction. So that's why it may appear I'm swimming in a loop, which is because that's the way the current flows. Like, you can't swim away once you're in it. So
Currently flowing counterclockwise.
yeah, exactly. So we're gonna go up to the 30th floor now by going inside this labyrinth. And if you look at the radar really closely, and it's something I didn't notice at first, but I got to notice it when I got into speedrunning, is if you look at where I'm standing now, and if you look at the layout of the radar, it's actually a snake icon.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they didn't put that there on purpose. Like, the labyrinth maze forms a snake icon if you use your imagination a little bit, but...
I mean, we're talking about Big Boss building this thing, so maybe.
Yeah, well, if there's anything Big Boss did specialize in is making really lengthy elevators. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
almost
quite
a shame
different.
we don't see... Yeah, almost a shame we don't see the upper floors.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite different from the original where you just see a static screen background with just a moving elevator. Here you go quite literally all the way up. And so this is Red Blaster. You can't attack him from the ground because he's just shimmying up on the ceiling and he's throwing grenades at you. But hey, you fight fire with fire, right? So we're gonna throw grenades at him while he throws them at us. And we're just gonna avoid him when he throws them. And sometimes he can be a bit of a troll by, you know, shimmying way off to the side like that. It's a bit random. You know, but no biggie. We're just gonna keep lining them up as he tries to dodge and throw his own. And that was Red Blaster.
There you go. As you've seen, maybe, there's also our health bar growing a little bit. It's one of the many things that Metal Gear Solid and the others also do later. Life is not just, you know, increasing, you know, visually, but it's actually growing. In MG1 we saw it was already halfway full in the beginning and just filled to the max. Here it actually grows with you as a rank up feature.
Yeah, they did away with the whole, like, POW, hey! There we go, I got a nice RNG. Yeah,
very good. Yeah,
I was about to go into like a semi-rant about this messenger pigeon because it gave me such a hard time yesterday. But yeah, that messenger pigeon's landing pattern is random. It always flies in a, you know, clockwise loop around the roof, but when it decides to land, it is completely random. So this is where you lose a lot of time trying to get PBs, which was doing it to me constantly yesterday. And also the reason for having this B2 ration, because it contains food items within it that attracts the pigeon to like want to get it to land, and you can approach it without it just taking off on you. Which is what I'll cover about the rations quickly. So there are 3 different types of rations: B1, B2, and B3, with a color scheme of oh, forgot to swap this back. Yeah, you can't punch with the C4 because it's the detonate button. So B1 is indicated as a brown ration. That's used for healing as well as countering these pools of acid, which we'll encounter later in the game. The B2 ration, which is green, funny enough, that's what they look like in the future series. They have like these like food ingredients which can influence a pigeon to land on the roof or land on the ground from the roof, like I just said. And then the B3 ration, which has like a yellowish, you know, color shade to it. It has like you know, cheese ingredients in it, which is again made for a unique purpose later in the game, at the very end. So now we're just kind of doubling back to the middle section of this labyrinth, because there are 3 elevators here. They correspond and go up to floors 10, 20, and 30 if going up. Otherwise, they just go to the basement, depending on which one it is you go into. So for the time being, we're going to be going in this elevator quite a bit. It's the one that's it's acting as a transit between building 1 and 2, like House was just saying.
Yep. I love that this one ration had beans and then later beans and franks together. It's like double loaded on beans.
Yeah, man, it's just like I said, they got very creative when it came to the rations. So we're gonna go swimming again. As we make our way back to Building 1, because now we're tasked with finding a undercover agent under the name of Gustava, because we tried contacting Dr. Marv through the frequency that was on the Pigeon's leg through a little note tied on it, which was 14051, but the problem is, and it's a problem for me too, but Dr. Marv only speaks in Czech, and Snake doesn't quite understand what he's saying, so he contacted Dr. Madnar for some advice on what to do. So Madnar suggested to go find Gustava, who can translate for Snake and get in touch with Dr. Marv. So that's what we're doing now, is making our way up to where Gustava would be on the 4th floor, given we now have the level 4 to get there.
This floor is kind of mean. There's lots of things that can give you alerts. So if you're trying to get big boss, this is the one where it's really stressful to go through. We gotta do it twice even.
Yeah, so as soon as we open this door, I'm just going to go down and punch this guard so I don't trigger an alert too early. I am going to trigger one, but I don't want to trigger one like right here, because then every time you try to leave the screen, a guard sees you, you pause momentarily, and then just slows you down. So that alert there is intended, you know, it's just slower to wait for the camera to move. And chances are I'm probably going to get spotted here because I moved a little bit too early. Oh, okay, I actually got lucky.
Let's go.
Alright, so someone forgot to turn on the lights in here, so we're just gonna go through this path that's just memorized. Crawl underneath this, whatever it is, and then go right through a door. And
Basically,
then, oh god, oh,
my God.
They're fake. Okay, I actually thought it was like that scene in Star Wars where Han Solo's charging at the stormtroopers and he's greeted by like a whole battalion of them, but it's okay, they're fake, but that guy isn't.
Yeah, that one can spawn in one of 3 locations, and if he's right there at the beginning, that's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, I actually got really bad patterns in both of these rooms, which is unlucky me, and then, of course, unlucky me again. But that's okay. You know, these guys are... They can be pretty aggressive, but they're not very brave, because as soon as I go into this freezer, they just give up. I mean, literally, I mean, they're just like, it's too cold in there, man. So, this is Gustava, even though it may not look like her, but we're just waiting for her to go into the women's restroom, which again is another sequence they quote-unquote adopted in a future game.
Oh, just waiting. I'm thinking, maybe I go where I need to be.
Alright, so as soon as she opens the door, then we're gonna go in, and there's Gustava. So we kind of
check this out.
Yeah, so we kind of tell her what's been going on. We give her Dr. Marv's frequency. She gets in touch with him to find out where he is. And we go down this elevator in the women's restroom, which is conveniently set up for making our way over to the next section of the base in Zanzibar land. This is also part of the game where the mechanics change a little bit, because we now have Gustava, like, literally following us, so we can't go into crawling mode anymore. So
yeah,
you
this is now final Metal Gear.
Yeah, I mean, you can't crawl into elevators anymore for, you know, movement optimization, so this is probably like one of the sections where you just have to kind of like temporarily lose time for that. Also, beware of these armored Roombas, as I call them. I mean, they are very scary.
But they do keep the place clean, because we're gonna get later to a section here where it's not that clean, and that's because there's no Roombas.
Yeah, I mean, you touch them once and you're dead. I mean, the bulldozer I know is a little bit intimidating in heaven, but those armored Roombas are quite scary. In fact, I died to them more times than I would like to admit during a run.
Confirm, bulldozer better Metal Gear than the Metal Gears of the game.
Yeah, so we finally found Dr. Madnar, the guy that was knocking on the wall earlier. Gives us a level 5 keycard, which he somehow, quote-unquote, got from a guard. How he did, I don't know, but it's totally not suspicious at all. But since we got his level 5 card, we're going to move on to the next part of the game. With Gustava in tow. Oh, wow, man, you're right. Man, yeah. they really let this part of the base go.
Jesus.
So this is one of the in game like cinematic cutscenes, which again I do admire this game for what it was doing for its time, because I say this to people quite a bit, is they, you know, were quite ahead of their time when it came to this game, because they really did reference this a lot in Metal Gear Solid 1, even just the flow of, you know, navigating from place to place, the puzzles, the codex, which actually look more like the codex that people recognize, and of course the overhauled like music soundtrack, which is completely, you know, amazing. You know, if you ever get a chance to play this game or even just listen to the soundtrack, I would definitely recommend it.
It's really good.
Alright, so we're just making our way over to this part, which is another in-game cutscene, where we made it to the bridge! Oh, I'm sorry, a bridge.
You can only cross one at a time.
I don't know, man.
Conveniently, Metna goes first.
I don't know. I think you get more than one, but I mean, it's got to be dramatic, right?
Yeah, probably.
So he goes over, says it's safe. Then Gustavo goes next. You know, I still feel like something's odd about this. Then as I go to approach, and then, oh my god!
Oh my!
The bridge blows up. Gustavo gets caught in the explosion.
Sadly does.
And rip Gustavo.
We barely knew here.
So Dr. Manor gets taken away. And then just when you thought things couldn't get any worse right now... Metal... feet? Oh, it's Metal Gear. I mean, Metal Gear? Oh, it was Gray Fox piloting Metal Gear, pretty much taunting us, saying that we can't follow him, but yeah, so Gustava dies, but right before she dies, she gives us not only a level 6 keycard, but part of her necklace, which has the Zanzibar logo on it, and there's a hidden use for it, which again is part of the puzzle of, you know, like trying to figure that out, which, as an early spoiler, it forms into a key. I know, I mean, you might be thinking, well, how does something like that form into a key? Well, it's one of the other elements of the game which carries over into MGS1, which is, it changes by temperature, hot and cold. Thankfully, we don't have to do both, like you would in MGS1. We only have to freeze it, which is forming the key that we need to actually beat the game. But before we even get to any of that, we gotta get our way back to Building 1 to pick up a glider, which we need to now make our way over to the bridge, thanks to Gray Fox, that jerk.
Yeah, we actually seen it in the Thanksgiving celebration. I don't know what they do with that there, but has been seen.
Yeah, and then while we get the glider, we're also going to make our way back up to the cafeteria area in Building 1 on the 4th floor where we found Gustava, and stop by the freezer a second time, which is actually for freezing her necklace brooch to form into the key. And then, forgot to swap to level 4 card. That's probably one of the things that takes the most time, other than just navigating and optimizing your movement and menus, is the key cards. Knowing what key card goes to what. Just like the first game, you have to kind of memorize it and just practice it. But thankfully on the wiki, there actually is a note on there of like the actual order of what you need to change the keys into in case you ever forget. Or if you're just trying to learn it for the first time. Definitely give the wiki a check for this game, whether if it's for any percent, and especially for Big Boss, which I do intend to do one day. If I ever just get tired of losing my mind to the Pigeon in any percent. Whatever happens first, but... Oh yeah, listen to some more VR tunage.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's the early variation of the advanced theme in MGS VR, I believe.
I think so as well, yep.
So,
I also said we gonna get the glider, and we're gonna make our way through past guards. Oh no! Oh wait, actually these are not guards. They're just again puppets.
No, that guy is.
Oh, they have a single one standing there all day with puppets, just in case.
Well, I mean, he got bored, so he just left.
Fair enough. Do the same.
All right, so same thing. We're just gonna knock on this wall, so it brings this guy back, and then. You don't notice that Snake caught a cold because of all the swimming that I did. It's a small price to pay for going fast. There fortunately is cold medicine you can get. to counteract it. Problem is, it's too far out of the way to get it, so it's just one of the things you gotta deal with when running this on NTSC HD Collection. To my understanding, if you run this on either PS2 or PS2 PAL, you don't sneeze as long as you keep moving. Like, it doesn't just interrupt the game like every few minutes like it does on NTSC HD Collection. Which, similar to MG1, you do go faster on PAL just due to the fact that your movement is faster. Just like the original game was. But for NTSC HD Collection, it's... even though it's not as optimal, it is easy to get into. It's easier to access if you don't have a PS2 lying around. And same thing, we're just going to trigger this alert again just to run through here faster. Jam into the alert music.
And it is a bang of a tune. Once again, if you like this, want to see even more of that, I can only recommend also Ghost Babel, which sadly is not featured this time. But we can quickly talk about what is featured, and that is, for example, Metal Gear Solid 80% Blindfold next on MG2.
Yeah, that is going to be really sick to watch. I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Man, dude, this section of the game just doesn't like me to get. I got lucky in the first one, but then that section there is just... I don't know what it is, but their spawning behavior is like somewhat randomized and some of it's consistent. Yeah. But thankfully this time we don't have Gustavo to worry about like having to go chase after, so we're just here to wait a few minutes, or I'm saying not a few minutes, but a few seconds rather.
Seconds, yeah.
There you go.
The
That's the
backtracking
key.
here is not as bad as in MGS, thankfully. So waiting just a few seconds, not a full minute.
Yeah, so that's the key that you need to beat the game. It unlocks a locker that is important for the very end. And we're just gonna make our way back through the sewers here. You know, with the armored Roombas and the dirty hallway, I guess we'll call it. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't fit a Roomba in there. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty narrow.
Fair enough.
I mean, just look at these things.
Gigantic.
I mean, I would not want to get in their way. I'm saying. Not even for like a YouTube meme video or anything. Alright, so same thing as before. We're just going to use the level 5 card that we got from earlier and just go up the narrow hallway. And then we're backtracking to the labyrinth with the 3 elevator sections, where we're gonna attempt, and that's the keyword, attempt, to go up to the 20th floor to use the hang glider, but things don't go always according to plan. I mean, especially when it comes to Metal Gear, I mean, you just kind of have to expect the unexpected, but in the way that it happens is sort of annoying, and I guess I'll go into that when we get there. Alright, so again, we're just gonna...
goal... Please.
Oh, no, go ahead.
The entire goal of what we're doing here, we just got the glider. We gotta get to a little platform from which we can jump off and then make it past the bridge, which, as we've seen, has been broken, so we can get to the final area of the game. But yeah, as you can see, there's also lots of walking combined with that. So another thing, I guess, then we'll come back later in MGS1 as well. A little bit of backtracking, but hey, zone tight. A little bit of backtracking can't hurt.
Yeah, so we can only use the 20th floor to jump off with the hang glider, which I guess I beg to argue there is a rooftop, but I don't know, maybe 30 plus floors up is just too much for Snake. I don't blame him. So
probably have to curve or stuff like that, you know, just going too far.
So we're gonna use these mines that we collected from pretty much near the halfway point of the game, which is going to be dealing with an encounter which is also very uncanny to the follow-up of this with MGS1. And wait, why'd we stop on floor 19? Oh no, it's Gray Fox. He sabotaged it. And not only that, bump, 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 it's the 4 Horsemen. What are we ever gonna do? Oh wait, that's right. They could just jump on the mines.
Yeah, they're fairly easy to kill if you know what's happening next. And thankfully we do. And they've been boasting to us, like, yeah, you should be glad we only take on the big fish. Well, I guess the big fish killed them this time.
Yeah, so you plant mines in the 4 sides of the elevator, I guess, and on easy you need 3 for each one. I often plant forward just in case I either trip one by accident when planting it or trying to move around to influence them to jump down. They actually will stay up if you don't move. But if you move even just by like a little bit over, it'll influence the one opposite to jump down. And you just do that repeatedly until you get them all. But problem is, we can no longer use that elevator to go up to the 20th floor thanks to Gray Fox. So we have to go to the next best thing, which is going up to the 10th floor through this elevator here. And we're gonna have to go up some stairs. And when I say go up some stairs, I mean, we really have to go up some stairs.
I have a feeling this is what Running Man was practicing for.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, but for now we're just gonna, oh, I already had the 7 key card equipped, so we're gonna swap out of the C4 because we don't need them right now, and on your mark, get set, get going on those steps, Snake.
There we go.
Sorry, no boba skip for this section. I mean, it does look familiar with MGS1 with the Comms Tower A stair rush.
And indeed, it is a rush. No coming back. We have to go all the way to the top, or else we cannot make it.
Yeah, so we have to go all the way up to the 20th floor, so this is probably like another moment of, I don't know, for me it's just chilling to the music. I mean, it's not really anything I have to really look out for, it's just make sure my movement's good and just cancel out the sneezes. You know, but at sections like this is where I tell people that I really felt like they drew influence from this game heavily for MGS1 with not only, you know, the music style, the storytelling, the cutscenes, and even just sections like this where, you know, even back then they were thinking about it. I gotta say, these guards are very persistent. I mean, I don't know if the ones in Outer Heaven would have gone this far.
Yeah,
Like, I felt like...
wonder about that.
Like, I felt like they would have given up after, like, maybe, like, the first few floors and say, yeah, we'll let the guys on the 20th floor deal with them.
Yeah. Catch me at the top. Who knows, maybe Running Man has trained them as well.
Yeah, good point. There actually are booby traps on this thing, even though I just ran into 2 of them, the trip sensors, but the thing that I'm avoiding the most by just taking the inside corners is there are actually pitfalls on. So I'm just doing this to avoid the pitfalls, whether if you go like this, or if you just go like more in a square movement like this. I mean, it's about the same for movement, but I just like going on the inside corners to not only kind of keep me alert so I don't fall into like autopilot, but it also helps cancel out the sneezes so I have like that extra bit of joystick movement to cancel out the text when it pops up on screen. Alright, so we got 1 more floor to go. And maybe another sneeze until I reach a door. No, okay, maybe it's in the next room.
Let's go.
But I gotta give it to Snake, though. I mean, oh, yeah, there's that
There we go,
sneeze. I was about to say, I was gonna give it to Snake because, like, he just ran up 20 flights of steps and, you know, he's still running like he's in, you know, tip-top shape. Alright, so we're at the rooftop now, but as you can imagine, things aren't as simple as they appear. So we have to answer this codec, giving us a hint about, you know, when to use the glider, which is more or less saying, hey, stand around here with the cigarettes equipped so you know when the wind's blowing, which once you get that little white flash, and then you get to glide across.
From our biggest fan. Another thing that comes back later.
Alright, House, where are we dropping?
I'm thinking Tomato Town. I gotta get weapons quickly and then just hop up and get that Fortnite win.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely envision this being like a prototype for Battle Royales that we get nowadays. Where it's like, alright guys, we're dropping in hot, where are we going?
I mean, you're actually fighting every single one and stand at the top, hopefully at the end.
Yeah, so again, this is just one of the scripted sequences where you just gotta wait this out. But it's definitely cooler than just floating down with the parachute. I'm sorry. I mean, I ran the game for GDQ, but I don't know, there's just something about the hang glider that you just can't help but admire it.
That's really cool, yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna...
Just like the next...
Oh, I was just gonna say, Yeah, I was just saying, I'm using that ration just to get out of my inventory. I don't need it anymore, but... Alright, go ahead, man.
Alright, the next boss we're gonna fight here is Jungle Evil, and he is evil because he can steal a lot of time from our PB runs. He is hidden here in the grass and pops out every now and then, and we're gonna use grenades trying to hit him. Sadly, as long as he's hidden in the grass, we cannot hit him, and sometimes we have to walk after him, and sometimes he's just in a different screen than us. And, you know, it would be nice if we would be at least aggressive. But the good thing is they use cans, and we can just stand around and he shoots them instead of us. So health was not a problem, not even on original, but time really for us here could be a problem. Thankfully, here on easy, he doesn't take that many grenades, so he's already done.
Yeah, he was actually really nice this time. He can pop off to like different quadrants of the map where you would have to go up to chase him, or you just wait for him to pop his head back down and then hope he reappears in your area. It's alright, that guy just chilling. But yeah, so on easy, you just want it to be as fast as possible. Sometimes you're at his mercy with RNG. But the next item that we're getting is probably one of the most unusual, but the most important, which is the almighty egg. It's no ordinary egg. I mean, you know, it may look like there's something fabulous about it, like it has some kind of, you know, special use for it, but trust me, there's something really important about this egg, which... once I get past this door and I equip it, I'll talk a little bit more about it.
Yep. Can I offer you an egg in these trying times? If you do pants all run.
Oh man, I guess we can't really help it. That's all right. It's all good fun. All right, that guy spotted me is not a big deal. That's intentional. So what I'm doing now is collecting a few more rations, which is what I need for late endgame. Even taking it from the hands of those 3 guards, which are just conveniently in the truck for some reason.
Yeah. They were thinking, hey, who gets it today? Who's eating? And then you come along and they're like, oh, yoink. It's mine now. So
we're in the 3rd complex of Zanzibar land, and there's a... you know, electric barrier outside which prevents anyone from getting in or out, so no sneaking under the wall, no fancy tricks or knocking on the door to bait a guard out, so we have to do the next best thing, which is being really creative, which is not only waiting outside this wall and this guy just kind of paces back and forth. Wait, the egg is hatching.
Oh. We're getting a Pokemon now. I said this is an RPG game secretly. We just had a party, now we have an egg that we need to hatch.
Yeah, but the real question is, what is this egg gonna hatch into? Well, it's not gonna be an adorable little chick, you know, or I know Sergeant Silent's a big fan of chickens, but we got the next best thing, which is a fully grown owl. And you might be thinking, well, you're crazy to hatch from an egg. Well, look at this. Remember a foxhound. The solid owl. Now, what do you do with the owl other than just admire it for how beautiful it is? Well, for some reason, this guy doesn't have a good sense of time or watch. And while we have the owl equipped, it's gonna just make some noise.
There we go.
Oh no, I'm gonna be late. So he's thinking for a shift change while he just casually goes over to the switch to turn off the gate and then just lets me in.
He's probably thinking, this is what I was thinking when I was learning the game, why does he do that? I think he was taught by his father, just like I did, to turn off all electronics when you're leaving. So when he leaves,
yeah,
he turns off the fence and letting us in.
Yeah, don't forget to turn off the lights and lock up on your way out. Just not the other part. Oh, look, it's another armored Roomba. I've died to that one countless times, just not paying attention.
Yeah, can happen quickly.
Alright, so we're gonna go down here into this room with these 2 guards and poison gas, but that's alright. We got plenty of life bar to sustain any damage here. Alright, they're just gonna go in. Hey, only room for 1 in here.
There we go. Yeah, just like in the original, 3 punches and they die.
And yep, you guessed it, another scripted ambush. Except this guy uses stealth camouflage, but isn't very bright, which is Night Fright, who is always going to be in this lower right corner as long as you go down this, you know, single container and just stay here. And just throw grenades at him until he blows up.
Yep. Just say Colby a few times and you hit him right. Now you're wondering what is with these special ingredients with these rations. As Joe said, this everything has its own purpose, and these brown ones have chocolate in it. Chocolate actually takes care of the sulfuric acid that's in these puddles. Not sure what it's turning into, but it's not acid anymore.
Yeah, that's all that they're used for at this point of the game, is to cancel the pulls of acid. If you try to step over it without the ration equipped, you just sink down into the oblivion and get greeted with a game over screen. So, oh wait, did I answer that codec? I think I did. I gotta make sure if I did or not, because I'll be in big trouble if I didn't. Okay, I did, because once you cancel the pulls of acid, you go back in to get a codec from and get another secret admirer telling you, hey, there's a level 9 key to that door, and then Snake says, well, wait a minute, Jungle Evil only had a level 8 key. And then we're told, oh, but you know what? I think he might have dropped a level 9 key when you were fighting him. Which, you know, lucky for you, that key only shows up if you answer that codec. Otherwise, you could preemptively go back thinking the card is there, but guess what? You won't find it. Unless you go back and answer that codec, which is a bitter experience of when I was learning how to run the game.
Yeah, there's always these small pitfalls that just delay you. And we still know at least to freeze the key when we're there in the freezer, not when we're right at the end of the game.
I've had that happen to me too. Where I forgot to freeze the key.
Oh no!
I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Can you even walk back then? Because the bridge is destroyed.
You can. You could use the trucks to warp back like you could in the original.
Oh yeah, of course. That makes sense.
You know, and you would just have to use a truck to warp back and then, you know, double back through another truck to get you back to this side. And, okay, I'm actually not sure why I just did that. Maybe I just like the ration.
I know.
Alright, so we're just gonna run, well, try to run past this guard. So, you have to go all the way back to where you fought Jungle Evil before, and thankfully this key is in the same spot every time. Where you have to upper right quadrant right behind these set of containers here. And there's a level 9 key, which is used for only one door. Nothing else, which is sort of familiar with MG1, where you only have one level 8 key for one door. Except that one's a requirement, whereas this one is a requirement, but I feel like it was a really cheap way to extend the game a few more minutes by doubling back. But it's alright.
Jungle Evil has 2 cards. That's normal, of course.
Hey, you never know. You might have 2 cars too.
He was that evil. He stole the card from Night Fright, right? And also extended our gameplay time.
Alright, that alert's unavoidable with how it's coming in, so we're just gonna run through as we have been, not like I haven't been from the beginning. Alright, and just dodge the Armored Roomba. Bless you.
I learned this on PAL and learned for the first time that an NTC actually interrupts you. It's funny.
Yeah, it's one of the downsides where you just have to put up with it, or if it really bothers you that much, you can make your way in the 4th floor barracks to get the cold medicine just to get rid of it.
Oh god. At this point in time, though, thankfully we have so much health that at least on easy, so many things just don't bother us at all anymore. And if you lose health here with the oxygen, it's fine. Let's see, for example, it doesn't even run out.
Hey! I said only one in here.
I can't listen.
Yeah, he's always trying to cause problems. Alright, so we got everything we need, including the infamous level 9 key card, which is not for that door, but it's that door at the very end there.
Yep.
Alright, then we're gonna equip
It's time for the
mines.
final of the game.
And equip our rations. And there's Dr. Mranar with Dr. Marv, who... Oh no, he's dead.
His heart just gave up.
And then in the midst of our shock, we get a call from Holly saying, hey, you know what? There's something really odd about how Dr. Mranar has been acting.
Yep.
And then
This
Mranar...
old man.
Yeah, he's more than he appears. He was the one that staged the ambush at the bridge earlier with Metal Gear and causing Gustav's death, so he doesn't want to give up without a fight, so we're just gonna plant these mines on the ground, and then he just blows up with them.
Yep.
And
This
then,
old man can just choke us out. It's so funny.
yeah, and that locker that I just opened, that is what the key is for.
Yep. You cannot finish the game unless you have the key. You can only freeze it all the way back in building 1.
Yeah, so the reason for having the yellow rations, the B3, for it has cheese, which lures out these rats. And if you try to crawl in here without it, and you touch any of the rats in one hit, it kills you instantly. It's that punishing.
Yep.
And look,
The good thing is we finally have the oil licks.
yes, we got the beloved MSX cartridge with the Konami logo on it. I mean, literally, it's got the Konami logo on it. That attention to detail.
I love it.
Wow, you know, for a guy that just took a bunch of mines, I mean, he's still kicking. But in his final moments, he tells us how to destroy Metal Gear, which thankfully we already know, which is to use grenades, and he just tells you to throw grenades at its legs because of its armor being thinnest. And then we go down the patented Zanzibar slide. Whee!
Why not? Told you, Big Boss is crazy what he does here.
Oh, bad dude, we're having way too much fun with this today.
Yes.
Alright, now the moment we've all been waiting for. Not
Flashing
Gray
light
Fox, not Metal Feet, but the full-fledged Metal
The whole
Gear
Metal
D. Alright, so like Bandar said, throw grenades at its legs, but first you gotta get out of the way, otherwise it'll just squash you in one hit if you touch it.
Yep.
And like House was saying, because our health bar is so big and damage mitigation is pretty tolerable, we can just take the damage, it fires back, and just trade grenades, you know, when he's just scooching back and forth. And it takes 9 grenades on easy and 12 on original, if my math is right. Just as a, you know, reminder of like how many grenades you need to have stockpiled.
Yep.
But Snake, it's not over yet.
Hey, you're on fire. You're on fire. Joe! Joe, my God!
I know, I got it. Yeah, Gray Fox is a bit of a sore loser, so when Metal Gear blew up, somehow Snake got all of his equipment on fire, which you have to get rid of, and now the fated duel between Gray Fox and Snake, which we're just gonna try to encourage him to go into the mines. And yeah, I think that's how they phrased it in MGS1. It was like this, you know, epic duel between the two of them, and, you know, Gray Fox was left for dead, but rather it was tricking him into going into the minefield that was placed around the room. Look, there's a cartridge.
Hey, we got it back.
Wait a minute.
Over here, Snake.
Over here.
Over here, Snake.
Who's
Who's calling us?
Yep, the man who sold the world, Big Boss.
Sean Connery. What? Who? Oh, yeah, Big Boss.
Right. I mean, it is no coincidence that they kind of modeled it after Sean Connery. I mean, it looks too much like it to not notice it, but... so now Big Boss has got the upper hand at the moment. We lost all of our gear from the fight, and he's just gonna chase us with his gun. And we have to go around this room in several laps to get these conveniently placed key cards. I mean, thank goodness there's, you know, replacements. So we're gonna go in each one of these rooms to get the key cards we need. There are some that are just basically there to waste your time. You only need up to level 5. I forgot to equip the ration.
Well, here's proof, ladies and gentlemen. That is acid. You immediately die and go down to 0.
Yeah, I completely forgot to swap the ration, but thankfully it's not that far back to do it over. But I am kind of kicking myself for swearing myself not to fall into the pool of acid today, but it's all in good fun. Plus, we get to see Sean Connery again.
Hey, let's go. It's literally his only codec that we have with him.
Alright, so same thing.
Cover the cards. There we go. That's just said, we're gonna take a few circuits around here.
Yeah, it's like I remember to grab the ration, I just forgot to swap to it. You know, but it's alright. I mean, I've died on this thing more than just a pool of acid, whether if it's the pools of acid within these other rooms, which are very scary, or sometimes I'll die like going really aggressive on Big Boss and not getting out of the way of the gunfire in time, and I remembered.
There we go, yeah.
Hey!
There's even puddles. Yeah, there's even pilots inside these rooms, and if you walk up just 1 pixel, you immediately die. So you gotta be careful there.
Yeah, that next room right there is where most deaths can happen. So I'm just playing very, very safe.
There we go. There are extra rations surrounding the arena, but of course that's slower to grab them. So we really just need the one in front of the door that we need to get into.
Yeah, then here's another one.
What we're gonna make is our own flamethrower.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna MacGyver it up in here and just use a lighter and a aerosol spray can, which are just conveniently placed here. And then now we can actually fight them, so we're gonna try to get them into our side of the screen. And then just start. Beautiful. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is trying to loop him where every time you attack him, he's gonna like move series like back and forth. And you can even attack him while you're, like, off-screen. You know, just as long as he's approaching within range. And then we can do this while avoiding his gunfire.
And there we go.
And we just get to watch him do the I'm on fire dance.
Yep.
Wait, boss, watch out for that pool of acid.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. It's fine. He's just dying from the fire, not from the acid.
And boom.
Yep.
All right, no key card, no anything, just a nice little dramatic explosion. Door opens up, and then all of a sudden,
watch out!
Freeze! Oh, it was Holly.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so
just like
Holly...
an MG1. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say now we're going on to the escape section with Holly making her way out with us.
Exactly. We get a special gun actually. This one does not have any ammo, so it just shoots endlessly. We have to make our way out of Zanzibar land here. Actually, you're running even faster now. The speed that you're running out right now is actually matching the one from PAL. And if you were playing on PS2 PAL, you'd be running even faster.
Yeah, man, he's running like at ludicrous speed, like when you've been running so slow the whole time.
Yeah. Like, okay, I gotta go all out. This is the final.
Yeah, so same thing. You just gotta run into these, you know, tripwires. And then roll Charlie the pilot to basically hurry the heck up. And then we're just gonna stand in this corner and just kind of these guards coming in.
Yep. As just shoot endlessly here, and after 20 seconds, the gun will be like, oh, I got no ammo anymore, all of a sudden. And that is when time will be.
Oh, man, that guy's being a little tricky. That's alright.
Come. There you go. Damn it, I'm on a ammo.
Alright, time's gonna come up once we get like the final like text and then fade to black with the chopper. We're saved!
Woo! Sorry, man. I didn't want to come in early. Hey, by the way, this is a Christmas game now. It's an RPG.
And Snake is tired of these rations. Alright, that's time.
GG's.
Alright, so 1020 something. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, falling in the pool of acid was unfortunate, but
yeah.
Hopefully everybody had fun watching it. I had fun playing it, and of course, House, I enjoyed having you on co-coms with me. You know, if you ever wanted to get into running this game, I definitely encourage it. NTSC, PAL, whatever you have. It's a really cool game to learn. It's a great follow-up to MG1 MSX. And, you know, thanks for having me. And, of course, thank you all for supporting our community as we celebrate the 35th anniversary of Metal Gear. And we get to watch Snake ride off into the sunset.
Oh, it's amazing. We normally go to the score at the end of the run, but in MG2, they're really, really long, so sadly, we're not going to see the final time, but of course it will be amazing. And as we said, you know, there's more to come. We have 3 more games for today. We have an entire speedrun tournament tomorrow and the second half of the franchise playthrough on Sunday. So of course, stay tuned. We're going to go up next with Metal Gear Solid, played by Il Puzzle. 20% blindfold. You don't want to miss that.
Yep, we'll be right back.